I don't want to waste your time and make you sit through parts of the video you don't want to. There'll be timestamps in the description for specific parts of the video. That being said, you may learn something from watching it all. Please do. I love Norse mythology. I'm no expert, but I've read a book or two and, played God of War. Actually, I take that back. Yes, I'm an expert. I also love Valheim. I've spent an unhealthy amount of hours on it in the past few days or a couple of weeks now. And I made a 60-second review on it that you can watch here and also like and share and leave nice comments on, thanks. I've been playing the shit out of it, and despite being far from the end and not nearly running out of things to do, I've been wondering what the future of such a game may look like. People are dropping some real interesting and good ideas on the official Discord server, and yes, of course bug fixes and optimization will be a major thing to come. I'm thinking more about what they could do to bring back the players who just came for the bosses and left, or have already seen all the game has to offer at the moment. So yes, while they are very likely to add this more minor stuff, I had a little look at their roadmap and, quite out of character, I started theorizing. I put my love of the Norse stories together with the info they've given us on future plans, and I think I've come up with a reasonable theory for what we might see. I may be wrong, but remember, I'm an expert in my field, so I'm absolutely not wrong. Okay, we may see the Children of Loki. For those of you who don't know, Loki wasn't a fan of condoms. He had 3 kids in secret with a Jotun giant called Angurbotha, while married to another woman called Sigyn, with whom he already had 2 kids. He also fucked a male horse and gave birth to its foal, but that's a different story. Seriously, the Norse stories are wild. Take a look. These secret kids were actually one of Loki's best traits despite the circumstances. He was an absolute bastard, but he cared about his kids and wanted them safe and out of the hands of the somewhat cruel gods. When Odin saw these kids in a vision, he confronted Loki about them and went down to Jotunheim to get them. These were not normal kids. Let's start with the fluffy one, Fenrir. Fenrir was a wolf. How did Loki and a giant make a wolf? Shush. At the time they took Fenrir from his hiding, he was a small little pup. By the time they got back to Asgard, he was a slightly larger pup. Odin and the gods were extremely intimidated by Fenrir. He kept growing and growing like, holy shit, he got large. So they taunted him into breaking some increasingly tough chains, which he did pretty easily, and then they tricked him with some dodgy chains and magic and shit, like little pussies. Then he ripped off Tyr's arm and shit, Now, he swears to kill Odin when the time comes, which he does at Ragnarok, the twilight of the gods, the end of everything, everyone dies. Don't fuck with a large dog, lads. The second one was Jormungandr, a serpent. He too was fairly small when leaving home, but grew unimaginably, and when Odin sent him to the oceans of Midgard, he grew so much that he could wrap around the earth and bite his own tail. He also put together a great CV and got cast in God of War alongside Alistair Duncan, so he's thriving. By the way, I am massively brushing through these stories. They're well worth a read if you get the chance and can manage to read more than one page without breaking your attention. It's okay, I understand. I feel your pain. The third was a young girl. She was described as being beautiful from one side and the stuff of nightmares from the other. She was called Hel. Odin sent her to the underworld of Niflheim, where she would be the ruler of those who were rejected from Valhalla for not dying honorably in battle. So now we have a rough idea of the Children of Loki. A very rough idea. Again, I recommend having a look. Let's get back to Valheim. If we have a look at the roadmap again, maybe now we can start to see some possibilities. Update 2 is called Cult of the Wolf. Fairly self-explanatory, we could see the big wolf himself, Fenrir. Possibly a friend, passive creature, maybe? More likely an enemy, since we're on the side of Odin. How someone like Fenrir could be implemented into a game like this, where you aren't like Kratos, a god killer, I'm not sure the specifics of, but I have to remind you again that I am absolutely right. So this seems like a problem for the devs, and not me. Maybe he could be this towering entity who sends wolves after you, or even just is seen walking around in the background or something, like when you're in a ship or far away, just in the distance. Feel free to conversate about that in the comments. Update 3, Ships in the Sea, bars. The home of our boy Jormungandr. However, we're in Valheim, not Midgard. Jormi is in Midgard, according to lore. However, the strength doubling belt Megingirth is also a belonging of Thor in the lore, and Valheim isn't an existing world at all, so they're clearly happy to space themselves from the lore somewhat, which is a good thing. Also, Thor in the lore, that's good words, that's funny, go on, say it, it's fun. Now, I have more of a fleshed out idea in how we could see Jormungandr in the game than I did for Fenrir. I don't think we should kill him at all, nor do I think he should fight us necessarily, despite us being on the side of the gods. I mean, it'd be a pretty tough fight for someone who gets one shot by a fucking mosquito. Nah. I have an awesome vision I'd like to share. Picture this, imagine this, just close your eyes, just trust me, come on, it's okay, you'll be safe, it's fine. You're just coming out of, say, the swamps, getting your ass removed, cooked, and handed back to you. You get back to your ship and sail away from that bitch as fast as the winds allow. The seas are kind and quiet until you see the slithering back of a serpent approaching, the serpents that are already in the game. You quickly release your grip on the rudders and equip your bow. Just as you go to let loose on the bastard, a bigger serpent, say like 5-10 times the size, just bursts out and fucking devours this serpent like it's nothing. Imagine that moment. That would be amazing. Beyond this cool vision, what else could he do, I wonder? Who knows? Maybe you do. Leave your thoughts in the comments to make me feel good and get the algorithm to boost my videos. Thanks, love you. This is my favourite of the three. Probably mainly because it would like bridge a gap between God of War and the sequel to it coming out hopefully this year. That's what I want. I got an alternate agenda. Update 4. New biome, Mistlands. How the shit does this relate to hell, Dan? You fucking idiot. Did you think at all while writing this video, you fat cunt? Listen, there's no need to be a knob, alright? I got feelings too, man, shit. As we all know from earlier in the video, Hel was sent to the underworld to oversee the dead who did not die bravely in battle. It's a bit of a fucked rule that you've got to die while ripping out someone else's neck to get into heaven, but that's the Vikings for you. The underworld she was sent to is known as Niflheim. It's also known as the Mistlands. What a fucking twist! Now the Mistlands are actually already findable in the game. I haven't found them myself, but I know they're there. Though they are relatively feature free right now. But they do have these skulls you can find inside them. You know who else has skulls? Dead people. Also alive people, but that's not the point! Now, how could Hel feature into gameplay? I think she could feature in as a creepier version of the Odin sightings we already have in the game. We could see this creepy, disfigured young girl watching from the distance, only to walk away or vanish if you tried to approach her. I think walking away would be more creepy. The music of the Mistlands could be more sinister and creepy than any other biome to account for her presence, and she could potentially become a threat. Imagine if you see her and decide to follow her, to walk after her as you normally do Odin, and he disappears. She disappears or walks away a few times, but if you keep trying, maybe, like after 3 times or something, something happens, like the word leave gets scratched onto a nearby surface or into the grass. Actually saying that out loud sounds a bit cheesy and cliche, so maybe there could be like a different word, or maybe a symbol or something. Just something like that as a symbol of you're unwelcome. She could do that and then do some shit like send the souls of the dead to attack you, meaning you either have to fight off this tough wave of broken souls, or listen to her demand and leave the biome. I think that'd be pretty cool. So Jormungandr and Hel are pretty much limited to their one area, and you could just say for the sake of the game that Fenrir would stay with the other wolves in the mountains. So saying that, these 3 beings could be the rulers of those specific lands. Say you spend enough time with them, the Children of Loki will appear to you. Obviously, Jormungandr being the ocean, Hel being the Mistlands, and who's the last one? Fenrir being the mountain, yeah, that. They could also be brought in as part of a big batch of content, and I'll quickly share my vision for what that may look like. Close your eyes again. It's okay, I'm here for you. It's alright, it's alright. You kill the 5th and final boss, return home and put its trophy on the stone. You have your victory moment. I don't have the footage for this yet because I haven't done it. I've only done the 3rd boss. But I do have like 75 hours. I've just been doing other shit. This is a really fun game. The same normal stuff happens. You get your new buff. Time goes on. You play with the new buff a bit. You just celebrate your victory. But give it a few in-game days and Odin appears to you, as he has done many times before. Also, I'm going on the assumption that this is Odin, despite there being evidence that it might not be. It's just there's also evidence that it is, and I like it, and it works for my theory, so stop questioning it. Only this time, rather than watching from a distance and vanishing, he has an exclamation mark, like Hugin. Or maybe he doesn't, but, you know, he will interact with you if you walk up to him. He talks to you, says something like, "You've proven yourself a great warrior in this realm of Valheim. I'm impressed by what I've seen. Your service to me, however, is not done." Fuck the accent. You see, there are enemies of Asgard that have escaped my control. The Children of Loki. I require you to deal with them and see their threat extinguished. You will find Fenrir the Wolf to the north in the cold mountains. Jormungandr you will find within the seas, or more likely, he will find you. And Hel will be wandering the Mistlands, overseeing her shameful dead. Remove these threats from Valheim and you will surely hold your seat in Valhalla. Do not disappoint me, warrior. Or some shit like that. And scene. I don't know, I just spotted the possibilities when looking at the roadmap. I'd love to be somewhat right. I'm bad at coming up with theories normally, but I think this one has some merit. Man, I'm gonna have to wrap this up because this video is gonna be fucking massive compared to my others. Speaking of my others, you can watch the 60-second review on Valheim by clicking the link in the description, or you'll see my little gaming news show called Now in a Minute. Please go watch it so I can go to E3 one day. Thank you for watching. Read Neil Gaiman's Norse Mythology and wash behind your ears.